Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Minnesota Mike back with you for another video. This is another one in my vlog series that I do through the Memphis Songwriters Association in conjunction with the blog that I write for them, talking all about songwriting and what has worked for various artists over the course of a handful of years, whether those songs have been hits or not. So this latest kick that I'm on is called Poetry in Motion, and this is all about songs that were originally poems but then later turned into songs. Last week we looked at Lacey by Olivia Rodrigo as well as Gold All Over the Ground, which is a Brad Paisley song that was originally a poem by Johnny Cash. Now we're going to look at Riders on the Storm by The Doors. When I originally thought about the idea for this blog and vlog kick, I thought of Sylvia's Mother, which was written by Shel Silverstein. But my rule was that the song had to have originally been conceived as a poem and later turned into a song, which wasn't the case with Shel, despite his other career as a poet. With The Doors, I had the opposite problem. Their final album, An American Prayer, took Jim Morrison's spoken word poetry and set it to music. If you're interested, the title track to that album is a fascinating look at the destruction of American culture thanks to technology, way ahead of its time. And as I was researching The Doors in relation to this project, I found out that Riders on the Storm was based on a Jim Morrison poem called The Hitchhiker. I will link the poem in addition to the final product so you can compare. But let's talk about the lyrics. According to an interview in Far Out magazine published in 2020, the song was inspired by Ghost Riders in the Sky, but the lyrics, which reference a hitchhiker, were inspired by a 1953 film called The Hitchhiker. Much like the title track, I feel as though it expresses disillusionment with the city of Los Angeles. This can be heard in the first verse's lines like a dog without a bone or an actor out on loan. The hitchhiker comes in during the second verse and says what will happen if you let him in the car. If you give this man a ride, sweet family will die. I'll discuss this a little bit more in the melody section, but the repetitive nature of the song makes it easier to tell that it was inspired by a poem, though the original poem was a little bit more detailed than the song. Melodically, the song was written in the key of E minor, and the song is driven by a bass line and drums, but Ray Manzarek's keyboard part interplays with the guitar. The song uses the chords E minor, A, which is a 1-4-1-4 pattern. That gets played twice before going to A minor, C, and D, which is the minor 4, the 6, and the 7, before going back to the aforementioned 1-4-1-4 pattern, and then a D and C, which is the 7 and 6. Then it ends with the E minor A pattern, which is a 1-4-1-4 pattern once again. As I mentioned before in the lyrics section, there's a lot of repetition, and the lyrical repetition is complemented by the melodic repetition. The main riff is based around the 1 and the 4, and the lyrical accentuations add the 7 and the 6 around it. The melodic simplicity allows for there to be a mystery to the song. Other instrumental contributions include Robbie Krieger's electric guitar and tremolo. John Densmore plays drums, and Jerry Scheff plays bass. Structurally, the song contains all verses, once again built around that 1-4-1-4 main riff. We talked in an earlier blog and vlog kick about story songs, example songs, and hybrid songs. This one to me is an example song. It doesn't really have a main point to drive home, but it does paint a clear picture of the apocalyptic landscape that the narrator is a part of. As a result, it doesn't need a big booming chorus, just a few simple chord changes from the main riff to that D and C before diving back into the main riff. It builds that tension and then repeats the first verse in the last verse as well. That's more of the repetition. Blues songs are not overly reliant on bridges and choruses, and with this song being blues derived, the structure works. So, like I said, Riders on the Storm is linked below, as is the original poem, so you can read that. I'm Minnesota Mike. Make sure you check out all my other vlogs and all my other blogs. The blogs are on the Memphis Songwriters Association website, and the vlogs are right here on YouTube. Thank you so much.